everybody, and welcome to Gamehead. I'm Jeff Keighley, and this week we're talking all about the Godfather video game. And I'm here with Hunter Smith, who's the senior producer of the game that brings the classic film to life. So, Hunter, obviously the big question is, who do you play in this game? Are you, do you play Don Vito sitting there in his study, having people come to you, or that probably wouldn't make a very fun game, right?
And I think that's what's one of the most interesting things we did. As we talked a second ago about. But most people have done sort of a movie game. They said you get to play the movie, you play those characters.
You got to be the Don. You got to be Sonny. Right?
Yeah, or like a sports game, you got to be Michael Jordan. Or Well, we really felt like what's cool is that story. What would be cooler than what if you created your own character?
Right.
And you tried to come into that world and see what you could do. Right.
You are old enough. When the time is right, you will take your revenge.
Now, part of that authenticity is obviously working with the actors that were in the film. What's very cool is you actually have, one of Marlon Brando's final performances in this game. You've got obviously James Caan back as well, and Robert Duvall.
Right.
So tell me about how important was it to get the actors to actually come back and reprise their roles for this?
It was a great experience from a couple of levels. One was it was powerful for us to be able to have their voices and have their performances and to have them do new lines and new content that made sense in our world come from them. I think that was one of the most impressive things is, sitting there, with James Caan describing sort of how Sonny would deal with the situation. It made us think about how we were going to design a mission or how when Sonny kind of mentors you in different experiences, how he would express his language. And when we were there, we might have had a line, and the very beginning member of the session with James Caan, he was just like, I don't like the way this reads. I'm like, change it. You're Sonny. You made that character.
Right.
So this is the meaning I want to get across. Use your words.
He just started changing the line on the fly?
Yeah, exactly. We started going down that path, and the same with Robert Duvall. And you could hear it in his voice. He was back. And he told us, because I was back 30 years at that moment.
Wow.
Like, you could see his face turned red. He got very emotional in that moment. And it was really powerful. And we're sitting there looking at that screen, and I swear, like in my mind, he was 35 years younger.
Let me speak plainly. The Corleone family has need of men like you, because as we speak, our enemies encircle us.
You talked about how there's a lot of difference between building a game and writing a script for a movie, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting is, we write a script and have a design very early on in our experience to give us a sense of where we're going to go.
Right.
But I think, people are doing a film, you probably have 75% accuracy of what your actual outcome is going to be, what the film's going to be like.
Partially because it's linear, right?
Yeah, it's linear, and and it's a story. And obviously everyone's performance changes it, and some special effects really change it. But in a game, it's about, how does it actually feel when I have the controller in my hand? We tried to make a game that was about, feeling the power of pulling the strings, of figuring out how much violence to do in any situation.
Right.
Most fighting games is just defeat the guy. Well, a lot of times in our game, you just want to hold
back
and threaten the guy.
Right?
Exactly. So a lot of it is about, how far do you want to go in any situation?
The Corleone family wants to be your friend for a small price.
You don't scare me, you Corleone scum!
There are a couple levels of success in the game. Obviously, the first thing you can do is just go through sort of the linear story mode, live through that. But I know when I was playing there, there are also side missions where you'll have like a contract hit. Abe Vigoda's character will come up to you and say, hey, go wipe this guy out and a certain amount of money. So obviously there are a couple ways you can finish the game.
Yeah, and what's interesting, so if you look at it, it's a big world in New York, right? And there are these moments where you can kind of go down the path of following some jobs for the Corleones, but stay closer to the storyline. But there's 1,000 other opportunities for you in the world, right? Take over businesses to make money for yourself, rob banks, heist bracket trucks. It was a great shooting experience, a great hand-to-hand experience. What's really unique about it, I think, as you sort of touched on before, is it's not just pummeling the guy, but it's grabbing the guy. It's being able to actually interact with that guy and talk to him and threaten him by holding him for a second, pulling your fist back. That's a really unique experience, and you really feel that
intimidation.
You feel like, what we all recognize when we see a bunch of mobsters on the street. People fear them. Right? You wanted to be able to figure out how we could create a mechanic that you could inspire that fear in someone else next to you. Fear, respect, it's a very blurry line in that world. And we wanted to make sure you kind of felt the power of that.
You can intimidate me right here?
Yeah, well, I could if we needed to.
How do you intimidate?
Well, I grab you like this.
Right.
Look back like that. Well, it's not
What do you want of me? What do you want of me? I'm just a video game team.
I want the green shirt.
It's all about the green shirt?
That's right.
All right, Hunter, well, congratulations.
Thanks
Doesn't
very
sound
much.
like the game's going to sleep with the fishes, right?
That's right. No, I think it's going to be a hit out there.